Hey, I'm Mel.
Hey, I'm Mol.
Hey, I'm Dan.
Welcome to the Poddy Sing.
With the GlioBabes.
Two girls.
Two brain tumours.
One man fundraising in memory of his mother.
What could possibly go wrong?
Let's find out.
In today's episode, we're joined by Dan Schneider, the man behind the epic 2 Wheels and 3 Peaks challenge.
Welcome, Dan. Thank you so much for joining us on the GlioBabes podcast. Can you please introduce yourself to anyone listening who may not know who you are and what you do?
Yes, I'm Dan Schneider, and it's a pleasure to be on the GlioBabes podcast. I am fundraising for the Brain Tumour Charity. I'm doing quite a unique challenge due to my mother's passing from a glioblastoma about a year ago. And this challenge is kind of combining my family's passions together in honour of my mum, really. And I call the charity challenge 2 Wheels, 3 Peaks, as it's mountain biking down the 3 peaks, but hiking up with the bike.
That's insane. So you've touched on it briefly there about your why and the unfortunate passing of your mum because of a brain tumour. But what was it about 2 Wheels, 3 Peaks that made you say, I have to do this? Like, this is the challenge for me.
Yeah, what inspired me really is, so the long story really is during my mum's diagnosis, or during that time period, she was given about 12 months, she made me and my dad promise we'd go on what we call like a healing journey, a healing trip. And that was going around the UK, the Wales, and then a bit of the Lake District and Peak District and Scotland. And we would be doing some hiking, mountain biking, in the camper van and camping around for about a couple of months we went away for, and that's what we did. And that during that period of sort of grief and adventure, the sort of charity project emerged really, and that was mainly from doing actually hiking up Ben Nevis in Scotland. After completing that during a campfire discussion with my dad, we kind of discussed about doing a project, and it kind of evolved from there really.
Well, it's definitely quite a unique challenge. And how much is it you've fundraised so far?
We just marked 4K donations yesterday because a couple of weekends ago, Coffee One kindly hosted an activities day, and we managed to raise about 200 there, and that just put us surpassing 4,000 donations. So I'm really, really pleased with that. And we're halfway through the campaign now until the actual challenge. So I'm really looking forward to the actual event and how far we can take this, really.
You've put some major shame on us because we did the Twilight Walk in London with the Brain Tumour Charity, and we came together to fundraise, and we managed to raise £100.
Oh, that's still amazing though.
Half of that was from our biggest supporter and the GlioBabes' biggest fan, Richard. So £50 came from him, and the other £50 was kindly donated by the people. So you have put us to shame. But I think, probably because it's such a unique challenge within that. And obviously we want to talk lots about the challenge, which we will. But would you tell us a bit about your mum, who she was as a person, your favourite parts about her?
She was very adventurous. I don't think she would totally agree with the challenge that I'm doing, as in I'm sure she would say that I could have picked a safer challenge that I'm doing, but overall I think she'd be very proud of me. And she was a super mum. I mean, I did a lot of activities and things, and I had the privilege of sharing my passions of hiking and mountain biking and doing that with her. I think I was very lucky as a son to be able to do that. And just full of life. I mean, every room that she walked into, her smile would light up the entire room, really.
So you've mentioned there, obviously, it was your mum that had a diagnosis, and obviously in this situation, it's myself and Mol that have a diagnosis. So from the view of someone that hasn't actually had a diagnosis but has seen a loved one go through it, like your mum, what do you wish people knew about what it's like to be a son within this situation, or to see a loved one going through that situation and watching your mum face something so hard? Like, what do you wish people kind of knew about that?
Well, firstly, I don't want anyone to experience or witness what I witnessed. A loved one going through what she had to go through, and how much that changes her personality throughout that period. You turn into someone completely different, and witnessing that and dwelling on those memories, it's not great to experience, and it's very, very difficult. But the Brain Tumour Charity, reaching out to them and their support line, something, if this is what you do have to go through, I would highly recommend or suggest doing, because they will help battle through with you, really.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Dan. We know it's, we come onto these podcasts and we smile and we have a laugh and we're talking about this really awesome and very slightly crazy challenge that you're doing, which is remarkable. But there is a big reason behind it. And the whole podcast, there is a very big, sad, dark reason behind it. And, we want to acknowledge that from every angle. And there are things that we don't know, but our families experience and our families see. So we think it's really important to acknowledge that this is for everyone. You've given amazing advice there about the Brain Tumour Charity and the support line that they have. I know Mel and I are very big fans of it as well, and everything that the charity offers, which is always linked in our show notes. And we will put it all over social media when this episode is out as well. You've got the support lines, the free counselling, the financial advice, everything. Is there anything else that any messages, any support, words of support you would give to someone in your situation right now that might be listening?
Yeah, the awareness side of things is it's imperative, but also being very open about it, what's going on, whoever you have to talk to is a very important factor of it. And for me, I wasn't very open about my situation at all. I think it took about 3, 4, 5 months after my mum's diagnosis for me to even tell some of my best friends. And I was never open about it. I was very shy, and I kept it to myself for a very long time. And this is, when you said about what inspired me to do this charity challenge, another huge factor towards doing this challenge was because I wanted to fight my own challenge, which was being open about something so personal and emotional. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do this project, was to be very, it's very difficult to be very open on social media. And I wanted to do that and raise awareness because I wanted to fight my own internal sort of demons of being shy and not very open. And I think that's given me a bit of an outlet for my grieving, and a big distraction as well, talking about it. So that's helped massively too.
So how long have you been training for this challenge overall, Dan?
I was training for it quite well the last couple of months when I started out. And I was doing really well. I was doing the Stairmasters in the gym and the treadmill and with added weight. And I was doing a bit of mountain biking, but unfortunately, it's all a numbers game during mountain biking. At some point, you do have an accident. And unfortunately, I did. I ended up fracturing both my elbows, but I'm off the slings now. So I'm going back into training in a couple of weeks' time. But that's definitely been a major setback for me. I've had to completely stop my training the last 4 or 5 weeks, but I'm looking forward to getting back into it. And yeah, I've still got enough time before the 3 peaks.
So obviously we've seen on social media, and you've just touched on it there, about your crash. But within that moment, what was it that kind of made you realise, I need to recover from this and get back on the bike? Because after such a big incident, some people might think, oh no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I've injured myself once, it could be worse next time. What's inspired you to keep pushing to carry on with the challenge?
When I did crash, I hit my head pretty hard. I had a concussion, so I don't remember anything that happened on that day. So I think that's kind of a blessing in disguise, because I don't remember how bad it was or how much I hurt or how much the pain was. So, it never really happened in my mind. So I'm kind of eager to get back on the bike. I see a lot of videos on social media of people biking. I can't wait to get back into training and biking. So maybe that sort of memory loss was a good thing for me.
You did give us a bit of a fright, I'm not going to lie. I remember opening Instagram, and if you don't follow Dan on Instagram, you can at 2 Wheels 3 Peaks, and everything will be linked everywhere. And I remember sending this to Mel going, oh my gosh, because obviously I just looked, I didn't think to read. I just saw that photo of you and I was like, oh my word, what's happened? So yeah, and we were like, I really, it teaches me and it teaches everyone here, read about it before you panic. Is what you do in this situation. But it's big, and you've been using Instagram, and as you said, you're documenting, which you're doing for yourself as well. You're documenting a lot, you're sharing a lot more, which is fantastic. And that's like one of the almost like behind the scenes things that you do to raise this money. What else are you doing? How are you fundraising? You know, tell us more about the background of the challenge and everything that you're doing and sorting, as well as preparing for the event itself.
Yeah, like you said, I'm documenting the entire journey and the fundraising efforts and behind the scenes on the Two Wheels Three Peaks social media to give people a bit of an insight of my training and what I'm doing and the mini events I'm sort of hosting to try and fundraise as much as I can. And I do have a friend that's helping me with the videography side of things, which he's looking to video the entire journey in a way and some of the training and put together a mini short film. So more details on that at a later date, but hopefully sometime around August would release this mini short film.
So after you've done this challenge, Dan, what's next for you? Are you done after this? Do you have anything else in mind about what you could potentially do? Are you still fundraising after you've done this? What's next?
You know, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I haven't actually thought that far ahead. I'm very in the direction of just the challenge and going for that and training for that. So I don't really know if I will continue trying to find new challenges and fundraise for the Brain Tumour Charity and continue volunteering. I'm not entirely sure at the moment.
There's endless opportunities.
I would love to continue volunteering and fundraising as much as I could for the Brain Tumour Charity. I definitely feel like there will be more because I think there still needs to be more done. There still needs to be more fundraising and awareness, raising awareness as well is so important for the Brain Tumour Charity. So I would say I definitely will continue probably volunteering in some way or another, whether that's new challenges or continuing the Two Wheels Three Peaks, trying to raise awareness through that way.
Phenomenal. And you're right, you know, again, going back to the fact that this is backed by a really, really just horrific, there isn't a word that sums up how bad the situation is. And we know that glioblastoma is the most aggressive form of brain cancer.
Yeah.
And brain tumor. And not only that, it's actually the most common in adults. And it's not okay that people are basically just handed a death sentence with no real options within that. And it's things aren't getting better, are they? And even, well, obviously trials and things are happening, but things aren't getting better at the rate that they are. So it's really admirable that even though, unfortunately, this is too late for your family, you're still putting yourself out there and, you know, really putting yourself out there, like putting your life at risk to help other people and try and help other families and acknowledge that perspective, because, you know, this is what I can only imagine is a lifelong thing for you. You know, this is going to stay with you forever. There are things that you would have lived through, experienced, witnessed that are going to shape who you are. So it's really admirable because, you know, I can't even imagine myself in that situation. But after my diagnosis, I just stayed in bed. I couldn't be bothered. I gave up. And I was like, you know, I'm embarrassed of that now, and I would completely change it. So the fact that you're able to stand up and go, you know, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a different challenge. I'm going to link it this way. I'm going to document it. I'm going to get this film out of it as well, and keep doing those things and keep being involved is amazing. And I don't want to use the word inspiring, but I think it is, because you're choosing to do it. And, you know, I bring in Mel's quote almost every episode: choosing to suffer is a privilege. You are literally putting your life at risk to help fundraise, to help other people. And that's crazy. You know, you're not, even though people that run marathons are awesome. Well, marathons is a bit far. People that run half marathons is crazy. I don't know why anyone would do that. And 10Ks and fundraise through bake sales. That's amazing. But you've taken this like a whole other step that people wouldn't even consider to make that change?
Well, yeah, that's really kind of you, and it's very nice of you to say. But what is inspiring is what you guys are doing. Like you said, you were diagnosed, but what you had, you've come out of it, and you're doing this amazing podcast and raising awareness, and you're speaking about it all around the country or around the UK. That in itself is very inspiring. What you're doing, both of you. So yeah, I think everyone does their part in some way or another. However, whatever passion it is or hobby that you're doing, trying to utilize that for the good or the better. Yeah, and it's like I said, it's super inspiring what you guys are doing.
It's being able to use that though. Myself and Mol are now very passionate, and because we're in that space, we're aware of it probably more than others would be if they don't know someone that's living with it or gone through it themselves. And I think for us to put ourselves out there and for you to put yourself out there as well, Dan, it creates that awareness that more things do need to be done. People process things differently, and I myself kind of done some similar stuff to you, Dan. Like, I was passionate about raising awareness, and last year I done a triathlon, and then now me and Mol have got this
Wow.
podcast, and it was only a small one, but it was still all three. But it's stuff like that, and people don't realize that people do these challenges because there is a personal connection to them. Most of the time people fundraise because there is a personal connection to them, or because they know
Yeah.
someone that's had it or gone through it. And I think that's why where it comes in with like the youth advocacy and all the rest of it. And just touching on that in itself is really powerful, and I say that word all the time, and I think it's becoming my favorite word to use. And able to channel that energy from something so negative into something so positive is amazing. So you're doing great things, Dan, whether you might be on your bike now or hopefully in a few weeks time. You're doing a great job, and I look forward to hearing how it goes, and cheering you on along the way.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too, and I'm looking forward to also continuing listening to your podcast. Probably not my own, because I don't like the sound of my own voice, but but yeah, no, that's great.
Back to the challenge before I start crying from all the emotional stuff. Can you tell us when it is, like what the process is going to be, how you're going to go about it? You've mentioned that you're going to have to hike with the mountain bike, which makes sense, but I never actually thought about. So you're training for that as well. Can you tell us about the dates and what is going to happen across that time?
So we're looking to do, it's a 72-hour challenge, so we have to pick our time and days wisely, especially with the UK weather being how it is, very unpredictable. So we don't have an exact pinpoint date. We are looking to do it like end of June, beginning of July, outside of school holidays, because this is not, it's not to do with being fast or speed or anything like that. It's to get down safe and effectively. So we want to make sure that we're doing it when it's dry, and also during outside of school holidays. So we're hoping to around end of June, beginning of July, roughly that time. Once we have a good 3-day block of hopefully dry weather, that's when we'll do it, and we'll have a video team videoing the whole thing, and that will be all put into the finale movie, or the sort of short film, which hopefully will be produced around August time, and that will be sort of the final donations. We're looking to maybe rent a small premiere or cinema, so friends and family or anyone that wants to can come join, and those tickets will be the final donations and the sort of the close.
If your mum could see you now taking on this challenge, what do you think she'd say?
It's quite deep. I'd say she would call me crazy, that's for sure. But I think in her heart, she would be very proud, and she would love to do it with me. I mean, as in hiking up, and so I think she would love it and be really proud of what I'm doing. And actually, I forgot to mention earlier on in the podcast that one of the biggest reasons actually what inspired me to do this project, and how the conversation started with my father about doing a charity project, was that during the time of my mum's diagnosis, that she wanted to do a charity project. herself, and she came to me with a few ideas of fundraising for the Brain Tumour Charity. And at the time, I brushed past. This is quite personal, and I, regret it a lot. But she wanted to fundraise for the Brain Tumour Charity and do some ideas with me, and I said no, because I didn't really want to be open about her diagnosis. I didn't want my friends and other family members, I didn't really want to talk about it at all. So yeah, that was one of the biggest reasons why I'm doing this charity challenge, and I think she would be amazed by this.
I feel like this episode has left me speechless. But thank you for being so open with us, Dan, and being willing to share that part of your life that you might not necessarily have shared so openly before. So thank you for sharing that with us. We really appreciate it.
Of course. So, yeah, it's all about being open, I think, and people need to do that more often than they think.
Echoing exactly what Mel said, Dan, thank you so much. For those people listening, if you are listening on Spotify, you can also watch this on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can listen on Spotify. It's a really good podcast to listen to whilst driving. We hear that a lot. Lots of people listen to it whilst driving. I do. I listen to it back as well. I do enjoy that.
About you saying about listening to the podcast while commuting and driving. I actually listen to your podcast while riding, commuting to work.
Don't tell us that's why you crashed.
Yeah. No, luckily not. No, it was while I was commuting to work. It was the CEO podcast, actually, funny enough.
Oh, Michelle. Shout out to Michelle.
You can find the GlioBabes on Instagram at the GlioBabes, on TikTok at the.GlioBabes.
We'll put a link down to Dan's Instagram and his challenge in the show notes as well. And yeah, once again, Dan, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you guys.
Come on.
No, thank you. Yeah, it was a pleasure.